All right, nobody say anything controversial.
Pigs can fly. I've seen it.
The Earth is actually a cube. You're all wrong.
Africa's a continent.
We are getting so demonetized for all that. You don't even know.
It's okay. None of us has said fuck in the first 30 seconds. Oh.
I didn't see a penny of it.
Well, that's because we're not monetized yet. But when we are eventually monetized and we can retroactively monetize this stuff, this one is getting demonetized. You need to have so many viewers before they let you monetize it. But then once we are allowed to monetize, we can retroactively monetize our old stuff. But not this one because that was controversial.
But not this one because
13-12.
Or actually, there's been two that they have listed that I'm not allowed to monetize because some of the music I used was copyright flagged. Ironically, none of the Fable OST, which I've been using a ton, has gotten flagged. It's just been like a handful of songs. Like the creepy song I did last time got flagged. Which is fair.
Fair.
Alright. Now to begin. Last time on the world of Titan, Raz the Gorgon fighter, Kettle the Tabaxi druid, Dustu the Turtle bard, Aroma the kobold monk, and Barbas the elven cleric arrived in Bloodstone to investigate the ancient ruins for potential disturbances. After finding the comrades, the magical hammer and sickle, the party continued on to the dilapidated manor. After investigating the perimeter and discovering bodies on the inside, the party opened the front door, causing the runes along the exterior to be dispelled. Aroma scouted ahead and discovered a large banquet hall. After heading at the head of the table was a man with a great sword run through his chest. As Aroma approached, the man stirred and awakened by her approach. And he called out, "Show yourself, Marshal!" That's where we left off.
There are some who call me Tim.
So, Aroma, as you approach, well, you're not approached, you're still hidden behind. He matched your stealth roll with his perception last time, so he is aware you're present, he does not know where you are. You're hidden kind of just behind a pillar to the side.
I would like to spend a key point to pull up my tattoo and do major image.
Okay.
Of Marshall, as much as I can fit him into the 5-foot diameter.
Now, a key thing about this ability, you have to have a tattoo of the illusion.
Oh, yeah,
that's
right.
Have a tattoo of Marshall.
No, never mind. All right, I forgot about that.
It's on their lower back.
That is one of the key limitations of this ability, because major image for what you get from that is very strong in itself.
All right, now they're gonna take 5 hours to tattoo Marshall onto them. No,
Marshall has some.
Marshall, are you there?
We're a martial artist.
Are you gonna say that? Or are you like peeking out to say that?
Yeah.
As you peek out, give me a perception check.
I'm sure they look adorable as they do so.
As you look out, before you even say anything, you see right over this individual's shoulder, small little sensor appears. Invisible, but visible to you because of your eye. But even with the true seeing, you almost wouldn't notice it had you not been looking at the spot when it appeared. There's this tiny orb-like sensor floating over the side of this individual. Do you still call out, or?
I think seeing that they wouldn't. And maybe pull out their darts, their fierce bolts.
Okay, roll an insight check for me real quick.
Okay.
Even over 10. This individual definitely does not notice that sensor appear. And
Okay.
from the positioning and the vague understanding you have of such things, this is probably a scry sensor, and it is probably scrying on this person.
Okay. Then Aroma's gonna sneak back.
All right,
the
roll
group.
another stealth check.
Oh wait, but I want to listen in to what they're saying.
Okay. So are you going to stay there and listen to them talk, or
Yeah.
as you stay there? There's no point hiding, Marshal. I've been here well enough to know when someone's inside. You may as well come out. I can feel your aura about the place. What are you hiding from? I'm just a little old man stuck in a chair. Surely I'm no threat to you anymore. You can dispatch me whenever you're ready. You certainly didn't seem to have a problem with it last time.
It definitely sounds like something that you should not do.
I don't think you're there.
Oh, am I not?
Yeah.
You are in the
No.
previous room. You're probably hearing talking at this point, but you guys have not opened the door.
Can I warn people that I hear something?
Everyone in the previous room can hear the talking, so
Okay.
you are all aware.
All right. If he's just talking like that, Aroma's gonna try to stealth back to the group.
Okay, roll stealth. And I'll roll for him. Just under. So you managed to stealth back to the door. Now, the door is a little obvious to open. So you're at the door. Do you want to open it? Opening the door, he will be aware of you at the door. There's no way to avoid that at this point. But you are at the door and not seen.
Is there a map of this place we can look at, or
Sure.
just
Is
so
there
I
space
can?
underneath the door to
better
slip
vision.
something under?
There's a little bit of space.
Ooh.
I will say this token, I'm just using Marshall's token for him. They're not the same person.
Yep.
I just didn't want to make an individual token because I didn't know if this was going to be a combat or not. So you'd be right about here. Probably like next to one of these suits of armor, like just hiding right behind it.
And we're on the other side of this door.
Yes.
Aroma, as quietly as they can, they're gonna try to pull out a piece of paper and write something on the note and pass it under the door.
Okay. You guys see a note just pass over through the door?
And the note says, Daddy Blackdrake.
You mentioned the sensor at all, or just that?
Oh. Yeah.
Just reminding you
forgot
of
about
the
that.
things you know about, in case that is relevant to what you want to do.
On call? I don't know what a call is.
Stand by, please.
I mean, you would know to say you would know what a scrying spell is.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to make it funny. Daddy Blackdrake and Scry.
All right.
Okay.
I'm good.
You guys get a little note from Aroma that says Daddy Blackdrake and Scry. Interpret that as you will.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Does Roma have a sugar daddy, but for magic?
I'm a little confused myself. What
I
is
think
talking about that black drake guy? Was it
That like sounds familiar. It sounds like Kettle
Simon?
Oh,
Schmo.
you guys are
Solomon?
so dumb.
Sounds like the person that
She's saying that
almost
that's
killed
probably
Kettle.
Black. Yeah.
hold on a second. I
but
can't. I
it's
can barely hear
The whole
Alex.
awful guy that you fought.
Oh yeah, that guy.
well, yeah,
Kettle Schmo.
the guy that trapped us in the dungeon. Yeah, I think his father might be in there.
Is that the guy who killed what's his face?
Yes.
With the thing.
The what? Are you talking about Goto or are you talking about Derlin?
Yes.
He's not the guy that killed Goto. That was one of his lackeys. He is the one who got Derlin isolated in his room.
And his dad's beyond this door.
I think that's what she's trying to say, yes.
Well, this does not seem like a very good situation for us to be in.
This could be a great situation to gather intel on the guy that we're
Except,
fighting against.
except
this is
you'll
coming
notice.
from the 10-foot turtle.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm not even. I'm like 6'2".
Shh.
Where did you
He's
get
Russ-
10 feet from?
Ruz puts
Yes, you are
down
very
puts a finger
stealthy.
on your face, on your face, Dustu.
Wait,
Let-
do what?
Ruz
He
puts
does
a
like
finger
shush.
on your
Do like a shush.
face as a shh.
Sorry. Yeah, this could be a great time to gather intel.
Agreed. There's just one issue.
What?
Pay attention to that last word.
What last word?
On the note, scry.
Oh, he's got a scry in it.
If there is one person we know who has a powerful magic, it would
Do
be.
that. So, is there a way we can take care of the scrying orb first?
If we take care of it, someone might see that as a reason to interrupt.
Yeah, but the amount of time it would take them to get here is probably a lot longer than you think.
Depending on if they don't have contingencies in place to deal with this Daddy Black Drake.
I feel like if he had contingency plans, he probably would have already done that. In other words, he has no reason to kill him. So why would there be contingencies in here?
Is there like a
More.
keyhole we can look through by chance?
There's a little gap in the door. You can
What if we knock?
No,
If we knock,
he's
we
gonna
alert.
know we're here.
I'll
He's
say,
going to be so confused for 3 seconds.
Rose, because you're trained in this, roll an Arcana check. All right. If the scrying sensor is scrying on them, they cannot see anyone around them, but they can hear people talking to them. So you guys could step out and dispel it if one of you has dispel magic without being seen, and then talk. Or if you could somehow get a message to them, they might be able to dispel it. You're not sure, but
Hey,
you
guess
can't
what I have?
verbally speak to them without being.
Hey, guess what I
detected.
have? Hey, guess what I have?
That's true.
The will to live?
No, I have dispel magic.
You
I'm
do also
worried
have the
that
message cantrip. You do
I'm
also have
worried
the message
that-
cantrip if you need to send a message to them to warn them about the scry.
I'm
You
worried
were
that if you
saying
cast dispel magic in that general area, he's gonna get up.
potentially. There's also the whole entire thing of by casting dispel magic, you alert Black Drake again that someone is talking to Daddy Black Drake. And I think at the very least, if he had an obvious, I mean, I can't make the argument because of like he is stabbed literally in the chair because Ruz doesn't know this, so I will ignore that. But it feels like
He would have no way of knowing that it's us.
he would have no way of knowing it's us. It's still a Oh, someone's talking to my dad. Maybe I should John over there with magic.
I mean, he's pretty far away.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but a vampire getting on the train is going to be pretty suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if
Uh,
he's powerful enough, he might have teleportation abilities.
Oh,
there's also the possibility, one, that Daddy Black Drake is going to try and kill us because I don't know about you guys, but Black Drake eh, is just a bad person in general. Daddy Black Drake might be just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah,
this would
but
have been a good
wouldn't
time to prepare daylight.
Black Drake might have a personal vendetta against his son.
True.
I will say,
We have no idea.
concern of Ruz, I will point something out. If you dispel it, it may look suspicious to the person scrying. But if the individual that's being scryed on is informed of it and is able to dispel it, it might just look like, oh, they noticed me scrying. There might still not be anyone there as far as they're aware. So if
Okay.
that's your concern, that might be something to think about, but you also don't know if they're able to dispel it at all.
True.
And we have somebody whose voice Black Drake wouldn't recognize.
Also true.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
Well-
like where this is going.
I don't. I'm not a huge fan of it either. I think there's a safer way for you to maybe chat without having to reveal who you are too. Because, like, okay, what are the cantrips we have right now?
Message. I can just
Just
cast message
Literally
on this
just
guy. And,
message him
yeah,
and let him
I-
know this is scrying orb.
yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna cast message.
You have to point at him though.
Lord Marshall,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
going to show yourself or not?
I'm gonna point at him, like through, kind of like aim my finger through the gap in the door, and tell him it's like, you do realize that you're being scryed on, right?
Okay. Aroma, you don't hear Dustu say this or a message get to him at all. But what you do see as you're peeking at this individual, you see his purple eyes flash for a second, and his eyes lock on where the scrying orb is. And he immediately holds out his finger and snaps, and it's gone.
Okay.
Well, that's peculiar. All right, why don't you tell me who you really are? You're obviously not working for my son, or he wouldn't need a scrying orb.
Yes. All right. And then Dusty's gonna walk through the door alone. He's not gonna signal anybody to come through. But
are you like, swinging the doors
Aroma's
wide
sitting
open?
right
Or?
in front of the door.
The Dusty, you're pretty
Aroma's
big.
sitting right in front of the door.
So I'm gonna like
You are
tell
next
the
to the
others.
door. You are hiding behind one of these suits of armor.
Okay.
I'm gonna like tell the others to like scoot to the side and just stay back, and I'm gonna like squeeze through the door as quickly as
And
possible.
before you do, Ruz is gonna just point out one thing you do have the option of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving.
Why don't you just simply keep casting message?
I mean, I could do that, yeah.
You can just tell him we're no friends of his son.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. We'll be like, yeah. We're kind of not friends of your son. As a matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. And he's gonna cast message again.
Excellent. Then why don't you take a step out? And Aroma, you see as he flicks his fingers back towards him, the doors swing open.
Can I roll acrobatics to maybe try and roll away?
Well, they
I
open
think-
in, so they're not swinging at you guys. Or are you trying to duck out of the line of sight?
Just ducking out of the line of sight.
Stealth.
Roll to do that too, but I definitely will fail, so I'm not going to bother.
Anyone who wants to avoid being seen by him may stealth.
Dusty does not wish to avoid being seen. He is the one who sent the message after all.
As the doors swing open, Kettle doesn't want to. Oh, Kettle is hiding as well. As the doors swing open, As he sees you, you now see the full scene. And I didn't fully describe him last time. He is a pale gray skin, long white hair that is obviously not very well kept at this point. He's wearing a deep, rich red leather suit that is stained entirely in blood at this point, and very tattered. He looks like he was a very regal visage at one point, but that time has long since passed. Well, that's one of you. Where are your friends?
Barbus is standing right there.
Apologies. Well, that's two of you. Where are your friends?
Could Dusty signal Aroma that it's safe to walk out, or it seems safe to walk out?
Not safe though.
I am in agreement with Keto here.
I don't
This
think
is
I
not-
have Zone of
But
Truth
Aroma at
prepared.
that point would walk
I
out.
don't.
You say Aroma walks out?
Oh yeah, they would.
I will point out, this guy does not get detected by detect evil and good. So he is not undead, whatever he is. But he's also stuck
This
in a chair with
area
a
would
sword
be
through his
out
chest.
Of the range.
Yeah.
Where he is, he would not have been within the range of your spell when you cast it.
Oh, I thought you said it would have been.
No,
No.
not from this extent. He's
Okay.
too deep in.
Maybe I'll cast that again. I don't know.
All right. So does Ruz from their angle catch Aroma stepping out?
Oh yeah, you'd see them, yeah.
Okay, so Ruz is going to look to Keto and go like the shake head and just waving a hand of like, don't do it. Please don't do it.
Petal shrugs apologetically and then follows their lead.
Whoever wants to roll a deception check
For what?
for trying to imply that this is your entire party. He's trying to read that on you guys specifically. I'll say
yeah.
one person from your party leads this, so
I have a +6. Does anybody have anything higher than that?
No.
No.
Technically, Keto did roll already.
well, I hadn't told you guys yet that I'm giving you one roll, so we're not going to count that.
Okay, can somebody give me advantage, or is this a flat roll?
Well, you guys are doing this as a group, so it's advantage whoever rolls it.
Okay.
I'm not going to cast guidance, though,
Okay.
because that's going to be
what-
suspicious.
No, that's totally fine. That's
Don't
totally
be
fine.
suspicious.
There's a
Don't be
14.
suspicious. It's 1 point higher than what Keto had originally.
I do find it's best in any discussion or negotiation to be honest. Earn a little bit of trust. There are more of you.
Dusty's
I
gonna
prefer
look
to know
back.
everybody I'm speaking with.
Dusty's gonna walk around the corner and just be like, sorry, he's gonna walk back and he's just gonna say, it's like, it's really sounded like we share a common enemy here.
I do hate to be rude, but I have been pinned to a chair for well over 100 years, I'd assume at this point, so I'd like to be cautious.
I understand completely. If give me 1 second. He's gonna go back and he's gonna look at Russ and he's gonna like gesture. He's like, "Get out here!" It's like we have a common enemy. It seems like he does not like his son either.
Ruz is going to step out, and then say, we'd like to know a bit more of who we're dealing with, too, if we're doing this exchange of trust.
Very well. What do you wish to know?
What's your
Let's-
name?
I'm Edgar Blackdrake.
Oh.
I am the father of, as you'd probably assumed at this point, one Marshall Blackdrake. And I was, at one point, the leader of... Let me find the name. I was, at one point, the leader of the Kree Strazar.
The
That
what?
name probably doesn't
The
mean much
Gnome-type.
anymore.
Does it
History
mean anything to
check.
Barbas?
Kree Strezar.
Free or free?
Kree. Kri.
Okay.
Kree Strezar. I would say this name would not mean anything to any of you.
Gotcha.
Even with a nat 20, this name, there's no way any of you would know this name.
Out of curiosity, other black drakes we should know about?
Depends on
don't
what
know
you
if-
mean by should know about. I expect Marshall is likely the only one you need to worry about. He did have a sister, however, my daughter Maria. I worry that he may have taken her in some regard out of the picture. I doubt he
I
would have
see.
killed her. But
Morbid.
You're not supposed to kill your siblings. That's just rude.
you're also not supposed to pin your father to a chair for the rest of his life. But clearly,
No, Kettle does not object to that.
No,
Russ is
is-
going to look at Kettle kind of like, oh, there's some history here.
Obviously, you're not able to pull out the sword yourself. Is there some kind
why
of?
hadn't I thought of that?
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm asking is it a spell binding you to the chair, or is this a magical sword of some sort?
It is a magic imbued in the sword itself. It was my father's sword from long ago. Its magics are powerful as they are ancient.
I'll see.
And what does it do other than stake you to a chair?
Well, it looks rather pointy, at least on one end.
Just kind of just palms his forehead when you
So
say
I
that.
guess you could use it to point if you really try.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Kettle's looking at it with her head tilted as though she's like seriously considering what else they could use it for.
Its name is Agitur. Agitur. Gitur. It is a very ancient blade that was used by my father for many years until he had no more use of it. It is especially effective at impaling individuals and leaving them trapped in a location, and extremely difficult to be removed by those trapped by it.
If we removed it, would you die?
Kettle
this
thinks
point-
that's more likely than not.
Likely.
Okay, so it's keeping you alive.
I wouldn't say that. More the strain of it being removed would put the final nail in my coffin. But I doubt any of you would be able to remove it regardless.
Why
What
is that?
if we cut the chair off?
no. Jesus Christ. And then he's just walking around with a sword, but he's saying that the sword itself is magic and is probably what is binding him to that spot in particular. If I am correct.
That you are, Turtle Man.
Yes.
Turtle Man. Which side is that sword sticking out of? Is it like right through his chest, like someone was
It's
right
his
in
stomach.
front of him,
It's
or
like someone
behind
just
him?
stood on the table and stabbed him into the chest and into the ground.
That's pretty hard to do secretly, so just saying.
Well,
Do you-
he may
That's
not have
something.
expected his son to stab him in the chest at a banquet, so
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm not judging you. I'm trying to formulate exactly why or what happened here.
Were you the ghost?
what?
The villagers will talk about a ghost or a monster or protector or something in the manor. That's why we're here.
If somebody heard something within the manor, it very well likely might have been me. I don't know this business of a protector.
Mm.
Of legends. First of all, what year is it?
What, I don't even think we know.
We tell him the year.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is 459 or 4597 4597 after sundering.
How do you win?
Say that one more time.
4597 after.
4597 after sundering.
Yeah.
Yes.
So after the war, basically.
Yes, essentially.
Okay, yeah,
The war was
yeah.
kind of in the after the start of the war.
Gotcha. All right, so you're his pops, and
So you tell
you
him the name?
obviously
You tell him the year, I assume.
yes.
When I was last tracking the year, it was 3560.
So you've been there for over 1,000 years.
Over 2,000 at this point, if my math's correct.
It's a long time
Well,
to be
you look
stuck
great.
in a rocking chair.
What's your skincare routine?
Vampire.
Hit- Yeah, it's a vampire.
That's
You
his
think
routine.
I'm a vampire? Oh, that is
Is
humorous.
that not what you are?
No.
Well, unlike them, I haven't met your son, but supposedly he's a vampire. So
That would not
What's that
surprise
supposed
me.
to do with all this garlic?
Sorry, what was that? Kettle?
Well, what are we supposed to do with all this garlic then if he's not a vampire?
I suppose you could garnish a dish with it. I don't.
No, Roma, you smell like lavender and roses.
I'm not
So-
especially surprised that my son would be a vampire now. I suspect our patron has long since abandoned him.
Your
Patron.
patron.
So you're a warlock.
Oh, no, that's not quite the right word.
You're an artist.
Not in so many words. I suppose.
Musician?
Kittle, I think we should let him explain.
I am something known as a Krisnik. KRSNIK. We are not vampires, though we may be seen as akin to them by some. We are individuals who have had our transformation into undeath patronized by a god and charged with a particular duty. Ours
Dusty's gonna
was
take
to-
a seat and start listening. A little
Okay.
closer.
All the
Yeah.
way in.
There we go.
Our charge was to seek and hunt the undead,
Oh.
chiefly vampires. Hence why I find your assertion so humorous. I am undead, yes, but I am of no alignment with such predatory states.
I see. So, is there much you might be able to tell us about your son and maybe how to get him to stop what he's doing?
It's been 2,000 years since I've last seen my son, and I'm afraid much longer since I've known his heart.
See.
It's
Well, I'm gonna
Wait.
tell him about what we found in his base
Um,
of operations.
I want to actually, if it's okay, why did he stab you?
his grudge is, yes, in part to me, but more so he has
Against
a
the gods?
one in particular. Our patron Zeril, he is not keenly a fan of, I suspect. Many years ago now, my beloved wife, Catherine, passed away. She was in the same business as me and the other of our order, charged with exterminating the undead. She had gone on her own with a small battalion to hunt a triumvirate of liches up in the consuming marsh. There was no need for me to go with her. It was well below her skill set, but the liches were cleverer than she expected and managed to shut her off from the rest of her group. And though they were all slain by her in combat, she succumbed to her wounds. Marshall was just but a boy at the time, no older than 18, I'd say. He was under the impression that because we are patronized by the gods of death, that his mother should be given a pass to return. He became much darker after that, and after she was given no such reprieve. He had always had an interest in the arcane studies, but his bend became a bit darker, and I failed to notice. I was too lost in trying to live up to the legacy of my father that I forgot my own children. We grew apart, and eventually it would seem he saw his opportunity to seize power and remove me from the equation. I don't know what became of his sister, though. I highly doubt he would have killed her. Most likely she would have been imprisoned somewhere. Marshall, even as twisted as he's become, loved his sister and his mother above all else. He would not have been able to bring himself to do it. But alas, he has no love of me, and in truth, I did not give him enough reason to have such.
What do you think,
You should blaming yourself.
if I may?
I appreciate the kind words, but the sin of any son is the sin of his fathers as well. Sometimes I suspect if it had been me that passed away instead of his mother, things may have turned out differently.
Rose, you wanted to say something?
I'm still thinking. If someone wants to chime in, go for it.
Well, I might as well inform you about what we saw your son doing, if you'd like to know.
And even if you don't like to know, it's probably a good thing for you to know.
I don't think I'd like to know, but I think I should.
All right, just gonna tell him everything we saw at his base of operations and what he's doing to it was the drow, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Genocide on some dark
Yeah.
elves. Yes.
Yeah, genocide on dark elves. He told us that he detested the gods and he may or may not be trying to resurrect one of the titans.
It's unfortunately not surprising that he targeted the drow. They were particularly devout to Mistress Cyril. He likely saw a lot of his home in them. And as evident, and he gestures around him, he's not the biggest fan of his home.
What's his goal exactly? To kill Zero? Zero? Oh, sorry. Finally on the brain you just said. On the name you just said. Wow, I am exhausted. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
I'm
good.
not sure I could speak to his goals specifically. he's certainly not a fan of Zerl. He may be trying to cut off her worship and weaken her. So that may be ill-informed if that is his goal, as her power is not based on the amount of worship she received like the other gods.
Maybe he wants to replace her.
That would be more aligned to what I'd imagine.
Mm.
He may not be entirely ill-motivated, but regardless, the things he have done is unacceptable. There may be a piece of him that still thinks he's doing something good, but I highly doubt he is not, in some regard, morally compromised at this point.
Oh, he's absolutely morally compromised.
He's committing genocide. I don't think it needs to be said he's a bad guy. He's committing genocide. There's no way of excusing that. Let's just be clear.
Dan, can I roll insight on him to see if he's being
Absolutely.
truthful with us?
Oh,
Absolutely.
same. Yes, please.
Why not? I'll join in the roll pile.
As you look at him and you hear him talk, you know, ancient beings can be very difficult to read. Their motivations are usually not in the scope of what shorter living races would usually imagine. And so they can be very difficult to find common ground with and read their interpretations. But as you guys look at them, as this man, this is a man deeply broken and hurt by what has transpired, and deeply mourning the loss of a boy that at one point was perfectly kind and friendly, and was killed by the man they became. And he's clearly deeply mourning the fact that he allowed his son to follow that path. You do not think he's lying to you whatsoever.
Oh, I have a question for you then.
I might have an
All this,
answer.
if all this is true, how do we get that sword out of you and let you live? Is there a way?
I'm afraid my time is long since past. Besides, even if you got it out of me, I don't have much more to live for anyways. I made my life's ambition trying to live up to my father's legacy. And I imagine that legacy has been dragged through the mud now, if it's even remembered at all.
Dustu, when he says that, Dustu kind of. All right, so let me explain before you just jump to the conclusion. Dustu rolls his eyes in a sense, not of like, oh, come on, but it's like, that's not what life is about. And then he turns to him and he goes, you're saying all this talk about legacies and stuff, but as somebody who is exiled or just almost exiled from their kingdom because of what they wanted to practice, life is about finding your own path. Even if this legacy is long gone, you can still have a sense of purpose. It might just take some time to find it.
First of all, you have my condolences, Large Turtle Man. My wording may have been a bit non-specific. It's not that I don't think that there is still a path in finding my own path. There's very little chance for me to walk out of this alive, and I worship the goddess of death. I have no fear of an ending of anything. The purpose I found for myself, and I decided for myself, was to try to live up to the great man I saw in my father. It wasn't because I felt it was my duty to live up to him. It was because my father was the greatest man I'd ever known. And I wanted to emulate that as best I could. And in that I failed. And I had a long and full life to find that failure. And I'm at peace with it. And I am ready to pass on. There's very
What was
little
your
I can offer
father's
this
name?
world.
could offer a lot of information.
Oh, yeah.
What
he
was your
came through-
father's
he came-
name, by
he
the way?
came through fine for me.
You could be the greatest librarian the world has ever known.
Like, history has lost a lot of information in the last 2,000 years. Like, you could really help people with what you know.
Ruz is going to kind of like
I
If-
think he's saying he's analyzed the situation, and even if we do get that sorted out and we do heal him, he's not going to have much time left after that.
And
We
Yes.
understand that, but we also don't have to take that.
Yeah, but then he's
Uh,
still going to be stuck in the chair.
Truth be told, young one, I am old and I am tired, and I am ready for the end.
And you are ugly.
Shadow.
You just-
Seems a bit harsh,
you just
but I have been
complimented
trapped
his
here for 2,000
skincare.
years, so that's fair enough. To answer your question, Elf, my father's name was Seishin Blackdrake.
And I'm assuming that name rings a bell.
Not really. I mean, well, so Seishin rings a bell because Seishin is what you guys were told was the monster everyone here was afraid of.
Ah!
Um,
Ding, ding, ding.
Hmm.
But it begins with an S.
yeah, it would immediately stick out to you as that.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Pray tell, I have one last personal question for you.
May I have an
you-
answer?
You don't happen to recognize what this is, do you? And I will show him my holy symbol. The
one of
old
the
one.
unknown god, right?
Yes.
Kind of holds it up, looks it over.
I will come over at this point. I have no reason to keep my distance from him.
Yeah, he
It's
doesn't
not-
seem like he's a bad guy.
It's not anything I've seen in my time, but perhaps in one of my father's old journals. He was. I imagine most of the history has probably been lost over the years. Seishin, we were very close there.
Hmm.
Seishin Black.
Gonna sit down on.
You sit down like right, essentially like above his lap on the table.
Yes.
Comfortable, Aroma?
Hold on. When he's done talking, we have something to say.
Okay.
Seishin Blackdrake was an individual from before the Sundering of the Spire and the War of the Titans. Back then, this entire landscape was ruled by a cult. I'd call it a cult of aristocratic vampire lords. Him and my mother, Eleanor, were both victims on separate sides of this war. And when they met together, they decided they were going to do something about it. My father was forcibly made into a vampire, but through prayer and devotion to Zeril, he became the first Chrisnik and fiercely devoted to her. My mother was an arcane scholar, the likes of which the world has never known before and likely will never know again. And the two of them upheaved the entire system of vampires and set the people of this land free again. And he traveled for many years with the organization of the Kree Strazar and had seen many things from pre-war. He likely would have known this and may have kept a journal of it, but if he did, I'm afraid that journal is long since lost to me. But I do recognize it, yes. I'm afraid
Very
I
well.
can't give you any more information beyond that.
That's enough for me. Thank you. Now, if you are truly ready, then we get that out of the way.
Let
Hey,
me
Let's make sure
hey.
everyone's done talking to him.
Well,
The
yes,
small
yes.
one had something
I'm
to
not
say.
going to do it immediately.
Do you still have your father's old journal somewhere in this manor?
I may have. There may be some of his old books, but I don't know what Marshall would have burned. You're welcome to search the grounds and take what you will. There's no one left alive here to use them. I believe the small one had something you wish to say?
Yeah. And they're gonna take their bow staff and poke Marshall's head, Edgar's head. We don't care that you are old and tired. All right? You let Marshall become who he is. You admitted that. And for the past 2,000 years, he has been committing genocide. So you don't get to just decide that you're ready to die. So many people have died because of you, because of how you messed up. And yeah, it's all Marshall's fault because he's a fucking awful person. But you have the chance to do something to change that. You have the chance to help us destroy him. So you don't get to just say that you're old and tired and that you want to die.
Roll a persuasion check.
Can I give her advantage?
It's kind of hard to give
Oh.
advantage in this
Fair
specific
enough.
situation.
Advantage could just
Power
be
in the corner.
yeah. No, no, just kidding.
What,
No,
what
just
they
kidding.
said.
Yeah. No.
You are very much right, small one. It is still on me to do whatever I can to help fix what I allowed to be broken. I'm afraid there's little more I can do to face him myself, but there is perhaps one last boon I can bestow on one of you that will give you as much power as I can that is within me to give. I believe I still have the strength in me to sponsor one's transformation into a Krisnik, which would give you the power beyond anything else I could give to face a vampire. And such a power would be necessary if you hope to wield this blade, or even pull it from my chest. That is the most I can do, as I am. I wish I could do more, but I am weak from the years and have forgotten so much. If I could face him myself, I would. I do not wish to push my sins onto another generation.
Is this like a great sword?
It is a great sword.
Mhm.
If
So
somebody in
it'd
this
be
party wanted to wield it, it would probably have to be Barbas or Dustu.
or me, yeah.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean you have to take the boon. They have to take the boon. Someone else could take the boon, but only the person with the boon can wield this sword, essentially. It has to be wielded by a Krisnik or a vampire.
Oof.
Quentin, let's discuss.
Well,
That said,
So-
if the sword doesn't interest you as much, the boons of a Krisnik or vampire would benefit any of you.
Yeah.
Just the sword might not be as useful.
I am a strength build. So is Quentin, right?
Same.
Are you strength?
yeah.
Okay.
So,
So,
Can I just do this one thing before you guys debate amongst yourselves?
yeah,
yes.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
Excellent.
Go.
I'm going to go and search for traps around the guy where almost about half the party have gathered around in like a 15-foot space.
I should be able to see any traps.
You can cast
Oh,
detect
yeah,
traps at
Aroma-
will, so if Aroma
yeah.
wants to detect them,
Yeah.
Oh,
there are no traps. And you said that was a bad spell.
He did, and it's not very good. But
It's
it will
not
tell,
good
it will
because
tell you there are traps, but it doesn't tell you where
tell
they
you
are, what they
or
do,
what they are.
or how to
You're aware
disarm
there's
them.
you're aware there's no traps you need to worry about
Within line of sight.
in this area.
That's awful. It's within line of sight,
Yeah.
so you could just be staring at the trap and it would tell you it's there.
Well,
I
as
guess-
long as it's not completely obscured by a material.
I guess if it's like a treasure chest, it will tell you if the treasure chest is trapped.
Line
It
of
would.
sight in D&D also doesn't mean you need to be looking at it. It just means you could look at it from your position.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
I mean, so technically, a trapped treasure chest, you don't see the trap because it's inside. Is the problem
You
with
can
the
still
trap
detect
I
it.
think
No, you can
that
still
is up
detect
to
a
the-
trap treasure chest.
I
That
think that's up
is
to
when
the
I do
DM.
when I GM, I say yes. You can tell it's trapped.
I would argue
Aaron.
rules as intention, you would know a trap treasure chest if you were looking at it with that spell.
Kitty food.
Regardless.
So do we happen to know what the pros and cons are to being a Krisnik? Or not?
Would you like him to
I don't know.
explain it?
Yes.
That'd be
I
good.
think that's necessary.
Yes.
He will I'll explain it above game, but he's telling you these details.
Yeah.
So let me pull open. Where do I have them? Oh, they'd be in homebrew, wouldn't they? Mechanics. Krisnik. So essentially, a Krisnik is a predator for predator, a killer for killers. You are a vampire of vampires. You drink the blood of vampires. Your powers are still fueled by blood, but you are not required to drink blood to stay alive. Simply, you will be weakened if you've not. Someone's doing a lot of moving. You'll be weakened if you are not. If you are currently not sated. You can drink animal blood, human blood, and vampire blood. Vampire blood will keep you fed the longest. Human blood will keep you fed for like a week. Animal blood will satiate you for a day. And you have to fully drain and kill the target, like fully drain and knock the target out for it to count. You can be sponsored and them allow you to, but they will suffer exhaustion and other penalties if someone allows you to drink their blood. While you are a Krisnik, you will always have dark vision in 120 feet. You have sunlight sensitivity, giving you disadvantage on attack rolls and perception checks while you are in bright light. And you will always have a bite attack. While you're fed, you will also have resistance to necrotic and poison damage and immune to the poison condition and disease. You will at all times be able to tell if there is a vampire within 1 mile of your location and the identity of said vampire. You will have advantage on melee strikes against a vampire within 5 feet of you. And you must be aware that the creature is a vampire to gain that benefit. And when you hit a creature with your bite attack, you regain hit points equal to the necrotic damage that it deals. However, if you are not sated, there are some drawbacks. In addition to not gaining any of the sated abilities, you would be harmed by running water. You would have an unearthly appearance, being visibly sickened by not having satiated yourself, giving you disadvantage on persuasion and performance checks, but advantage on intimidation. You would be vulnerable to radiant damage, and while in direct sunlight, attacks made against you would deal radiant damage instead of slashing or piercing. And you would not be able to enter residence without being invited by the occupant. Those are the basic benefits and drawbacks of accepting this.
Interesting.
However, you would also gain use of the sword Agitur if you wanted to use it. The sword deals an additional 2d4 necrotic damage if wielded by a vampire, or 2d4 radiant if wielded by a Krisnik. The wielder of the weapon regains hit points equal to the radiant or necrotic damage dealt by this weapon. While wielding this blade, you may make a special attack action to attempt to impale a creature within 5 feet of you with it. You make a grapple check against the creature, and if you succeed, you impale the blade through the creature, pinning it to the ground. The creature suffers 4d6 radiant or necrotic damage, depending. The creature's speed is reduced to 0 while impaled. At the end of the impaled creature's turn, they must make a wisdom saving throw of DC 16. On a failed save, they take another 2d4 necrotic or radiant. After 3 successful saves, they pull the sword out, freeing themselves and ending the effect. After 3 failed saves, the creature becomes unable to remove the blade and is pinned to the ground indefinitely while the blade remains in place. You do not need to remain attuned to the blade for the creature to remain trapped. The creature cannot remove the blade by themselves, but the blade can be removed by anyone else who can attune to it. While trapped this way, the creature cannot rest, cannot regain hit points, or spell slots. The creature still suffers points of exhaustion from not resting, but does not die from exhaustion until freed. And even then only dies if they still have 6 points of exhaustion.
All right. After hearing all that info,
Mhm.
it is all yours if you want it, Quentin. Dustu is not a DPS. He is like a bulky support bruiser at best.
Yeah. We share similar roles,
Mhm.
but you would definitely be more support heavy than I am currently built.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
oh, that's tricky though,
yeah.
because then I have to basically. One of the reasons I'm built the way I am, it gives me resistances to certain types of damage, but that would make me sunlight sensitive. That's tough.
Well, sunlight sensitive basically just means when you're in direct sunlight, you're going to be having disadvantages on some things. The weakness to radiant is only when you are starved for blood. If you manage to keep yourself fed, which I'll go into the details of feeding if and when you take this. Essentially,
Let me tell you, Dustu can catch you plenty of fish. That's
Oh
Yeah,
god, no, fish
Fury
don't
has
have
to
blood.
eat at least
Yeah,
once
they
a
do.
day as a human, well, as a living
First-
creature. So like,
Yeah.
you just can't go vegan.
I mean, essentially, you need to fully drain whatever creature you're gaining blood from, which in some cases, some humans, particularly high constitution humans, can allow you to partially drain them and they'll suffer points of exhaustion and not necessarily die flat out. Most of the time, you'll probably be killing it. Every time you feed, it's basically pushing your due date up to whatever the amount is. So, like, you can't feed on 100 deer in a day and it be pushed 100 days. It'll only ever push you out one more day. Animal blood sends your feeding out a day. Human blood sends out a week. Vampire blood sends out a month. So, and if he sponsors you, consider vampire blood for your first feeding. So you will have a month to worry about how you're going to deal with your feeding and what you're going to do about it. But it is something you are going to have to manage and keep an eye on and make sure you're doing. So it's not entirely inconvenient. It's not like the most inconvenient thing in the world, but it is part of the balancing of this. Is you got to make sure you keep on that if you want to get the full benefit.
This is tricky. This right here, this is
I will also say, to do this, him sponsoring you is only part of it. He will tell you, after he sponsors you, you need to go to a shrine below this mansion, and you need to get a god to sponsor you. It can be any god. It's most commonly Zeril. She's the one that has done it the most. But so long as you can commune with your god and get them to sponsor you, which will be a different role for whoever takes this. Barbas would probably have the easiest time having a stronger connection to his god. Your god needs to sponsor it within 48 hours of you taking the boon, or you become a vampire.
some. Can it be removed by remove curse?
A especially high level remove curse, maybe.
Gotcha.
The early portion of it could be removed by a remove curse before the transformation's been completed. Also, this will greatly increase your lifespan, which is not usually relevant in D&D, but just to know your lifespan will be greatly increased.
Obviously, in this case, this guy's lived for quite a while. without needing to eat, drink, or sleep.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Well, to be fair, like having to eat, drink, and sleep are things that were beginning causing him exhaustion, and the sword is specifically preventing him from dying from exhaustion.
Mm.
So he does still need sustenance to an extent, and he is also a particularly powerful case of this.
Mm.
Which
He has all the points of exhaustion, but he can't work it off.
significant? No. Just because these are the abilities that this thing starts with does not mean they will not gain or lose detriments or abilities as you progress. If you are feeding a lot and really playing into the pact and this ability, I may give additional boons as you progress in levels. This is a big boon if you want to take it, but if you do, you take the detriments of it as well.
Mm.
Really cool character choice, though. Like,
This is just going to add another level onto what Barbas is. It just already got like 3 levels.
This is what I was talking
Great.
about. I had this boon.
I feel you, Bubs.
I had this boon planned long before you joined the campaign, Quentin, but it didn't make a ton of sense for really any one player at that time. Once you joined, I was like, if anyone this boon works for, it works the most for Barbas.
Mm.
If anyone is going to want it. So,
especially after I decided to take that great sword. All right.
I won't force your decision, and you can certainly take time to think of it. I'm not going anywhere. If you want to explore the grounds first, you're more than welcome.
You mentioned there was a shrine beneath, correct?
Yes, the staircase behind me. Imagine that fireplace in the back be replaced with a staircase going down and then 2 staircases going up on the side of it. This was a quick and dirty one in case you guys decided to fight this guy, so this isn't exactly how the situation looks.
I just like the visual.
There's a stone door, but it will only open to one of like blood. Unless you know an Azamar of Zeril, who I imagine there are not many left, you would need to be a Chrisnik to open the door. Well, you would need to begin to start the process, rather.
We know an Azamar of Zeril?
Nope.
You do not.
Oh, okay.
You know Azamar of Sen and Azamar of what? You know the World Forge Azamar and the Blackheart Azamar. I forget the name of their god. But none of Zeril.
is there any information here about how to kill vampires?
Any books that haven't been burned would likely have information.
No.
Yes, I know how to kill many types of undead.
Guess he's gonna start looking around for those old books.
There would be no books in the banquet hall. These would be in the upper levels. If you want to search for them.
Yeah,
more specifically, do you know how to kill your son?
I don't know what he's become since last I saw him. He may have gained many powers beyond that.
You talked about liches and vampires.
Right, so I don't know to what extent he has changed, but if he's a vampire, running water will do you good. Holy water especially. Any sort of radiant damage, wooden stakes. When he dies, he will turn into gas and return to his coffin. You can put into his final rest with a stake in his coffin, or you can burn the hell out of that gas with a sunbeam. Whatever you're capable of. Garlic will also deter him, but it's really, garlic is not like it's not going to kill him, it's just it tastes really bad to vampires, so they don't really like it that much. It's not actually deadly to them.
Oh, so we have useless garlic after all.
It smells and tastes especially bad to vampires, but...
Okay. How do you kill a lich?
Well, first of all, you need to destroy their phylactery, which can be done in many different ways. Most commonly, sponsor of some sort of god and a powerful blow with some sort of radiant damage may do the trick. It depends on exactly what they're using for their phylactery. This will destroy the host of their soul. Depending on the lich, that may destroy the lich itself. If the lich is particularly powerful, it may be able to persist in its current body, and then its current body needs to be destroyed. Destroying its current body will always send it back to the phylactery, and then it will require time to reconstitute itself. Depending on the type of lich, it may also need a sponsored body present to go into. Liches of larger creatures, which are rare but not unheard of, cannot fully constitute their own body. They need to have a similar body to possess. But destroying the phylactery is your best bet. They will usually be very well protected and with many traps.
Okay. How do you kill a Kriznik?
Well, cut off the sponsor to their god. And then same thing as a vampire.
I've got a real quick question.
I might have a quick answer.
What was your wife's name?
Maria.
Catherine. Maria was my daughter.
Right.
If you hear word of what happened to her, if she's still alive, in whatever way you can, please help her. She may be... Maria, yes. She was the younger sister of Marshall. If anyone stands a chance to him toe to toe, it would be her. And she'd have the motivation to do it if she's still alive. But more than that, I dread the fact that she is what she might be living through because of my mistakes. My wife's name was Catherine.
Yes, I got that.
Mother's name was Eleanor. I don't know how useful any of this is to you.
I think your wife's name will be potentially helpful as a pressure point against your son.
Which is a good point. I will say...
Names are memory.
Marshall is far too gone that I feel you'll ever be able to bring him back. But I think he likely still thinks he is doing something good and working in his mother's name. You may be able to unstabilize him if you play on that in the right way.
I already have potential scenarios mapped in my head for such an occasion.
And also just
you should
names
always
are
have
memories.
2 or 3 answers for any given problem. And that is very well true, small one.
Your life story now lives where it hasn't for 2,000 years.
I suppose I can take some solace in that, though. If I'm honest, I don't think it was a very good story. At least not one I'm proud of.
It hasn't ended yet.
Well,
So-
maybe you'll be the one to write the happy ending for me. I can only...
So while they're talking, I'm gonna come over to Ruz.
Uh-huh.
Ruz, do you think I should go through with this?
That is up to you to decide.
I need you to tell me yes or no. This is...
Russ kind of lets out a very long sigh.
I've been walking with you folk for a bit now, and I've come a long way in the very short amount of time we've known each other.
I just like the idea that at this point, almost every party member is trying to get Ruz to make all major life decisions for them.
Isn't it so weird that we're all reflecting off of the one that has no points of reflection whatsoever?
I know, right?
The one who arguably understands the least of like common society mannerisms and emotional states.
Dusty's gonna start. Dusty's gonna ask him with the closest way to the upper, the fastest way to the upper levels, or where the books might
Behind me.
Stairs behind him.
woman.
Okay. How about we move to a side chat so you guys can still talk to Marshall and
Yeah.
talk to Quinn.
Okay.
Is that okay, Dan? Dan?
You guys can move to a side chat if you'd like.
Okay.
They want to still poke questions at Marshall. Or at Edgar, rather.
When I was a young boy, my father.
Well, I don't. Oh yeah, if the sword traps you here, then what were the runes on the door for?
I wasn't aware there were runes on the door, but I imagine they were either a precaution in case I found a way to escape. I did teach Marshall everything he knew about magic, so he may have had a level of fear of my escape enough to add additional precautions. Or he may have trapped more than just me in here. I've not seen any in that time. They may have long since starved out, but many of those who were here were not as ancient or as potent a creature as I, and may have succumbed to mortal needs eventually.
Yeah, we did see some bodies through the windows earlier.
It was likely a precaution for those then. I will warn, if there are any trapped below when you head down, I would assume any you find to be hostile and feral. In the amount of time I've been here, I've barely held on to my sanity. They are likely starved and have long since become common vampires. If any are sentient enough to speak, there may be hope, but I would not hold out hope that anything you hear moving bears you any goodwill.
So if it moves, kill it.
If it moves, stay out of its sight until you're sure you want to kill it.
And then
Or
kill it.
Just killing it is often a safer bet. It might not be a good decision all the time, but it's often less likely to get you killed.
We probably should do a perimeter search if there were anybody else trapped here, because otherwise we're going to be releasing them upon the village.
That is a good
How
idea.
goes the village? We were once a large.
Still missing. Isn't that why we're here?
Oh, it's just the ghost stories.
Yes, the ghost stories.
What state is it in?
It's thriving.
Really? The village around this building? I imagine Marshall would have burned it to the ground. Most of it was devoted to the
the village around the city, it's completely crumbling and ancient and ruins and stuff. But then there's a vineyard out of there, and we're assuming that the people there are descendants of the people from the village eventually, and they're having a thriving business
Really?
with the vineyard.
Can't imagine what he would have kept standing. What business do they do?
So wine? Was that
As
how
he
old
says
is
that,
wine?
he rolls his eyes. Of fucking course, that's what he left standing. He
I
burns
think
the
so,
entire
but
village to the ground and leaves the
accurate.
winery. Where did I go? Well, I know where I went. I went wrong in a lot of places, but gods.
And cheese. Kettle likes cheese.
I mean,
So
wine's
Marshall
fine,
is
but
an alcoholic.
I wouldn't say he's an alcoholic. He really likes the wine, and I'm gonna be honest between you and me. I'm fairly certain it's that kid thing of like, you don't really like the wine, but you think you look cool if you like the wine. That kind of valid. I think it was one of those deals. And like I told him when he first said, "You're probably not gonna like this wine; it's an acquired taste." But he's like, "No, I'm grown up. I like the wine." The look on his face when he first had it, he clearly didn't like it, but he stuck to it because he never wants to be wrong, and I wasn't going to call him out on it. He was just a boy at the time. Well, he wasn't just a boy. He was 21, but you understand what I mean. He was still young. I wasn't going to call him out on.
It's pretty old for wine.
Well,
What is this? Capital neo-capitalist hellscape?
That's starting to sound like what it is.
Yeah. Dust still.
Yes. Well,
What are you up to?
I'm looking. Dusty should be upstairs looking
You,
for
you wanna?
books.
You're fully going
Yeah.
upstairs. All right, roll an investigation check for me.
Okay.
And Aroma, if you want to look up there with Aroma or Kettle, if you guys want to look up there as well,
Yes.
you can feel free to roll those investigation checks as well.
Can I give
Woo!
him
9. Let's go.
Wait, but can I give him advantage though? Because
I'm gonna say you should roll a separate check because you specifically have true seeing right now.
oh
So
yeah.
you should roll your own check. If anything, he should give you advantage. God damn. So you guys are looking
Thanks for
around.
with me.
A lot of the books are heavily damaged or entirely burnt. Bookshelves are collapsed. There are dressers that have like legs pulled off that are collapsed, and a lot of this place looks like it was vigorously searched. Like people were like, likely. You imagine what likely happened is whenever Marshall first pinned his father and killed most of the Kriyas Strazar, they likely searched this place for whatever magical relics they could find. But Roma, you do see in the master bedroom, underneath one of the beds, there is a board that has an illusion over it to make it look like a normal board, but there is an indent in it for a handle to pull that section of boards up. That seemed to have gone unnoticed.
We do that.
Right, you pull it up and you see. Well, first, I imagine Dusty pushes the bed out of the way, and then you pull it up.
Yeah.
And you see set into the ground is a safe. With a lock, a key on it, like a pickable lock.
With a key?
A pickable lock. There's no key on it, but it is a pickable lock.
Oh, we need Ruz.
Why does everyone assume Ruz picks locks?
I thought you said you did.
No,
I gave
Derlin
it a
was-
shot.
Derlin was the one who picked locks.
Yeah, Derlin was the
Had a
rogue.
lockpick.
I thought we bought last time. We bought a lockpick and.
Does
lockpick
anyone
set,
know
and then-
knock?
Ruz gave it a shot, and I think Ruz did well. That's not the same as being trained.
I mean,
Ruz
like,
is
No,
just
you
lucky.
have a lockpick and can attempt it, but you do not have a proficiency in it.
Oh, I thought you did.
Yeah,
I'm working on it, damn it.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, like, you still have the lockpick, though, right?
I
Yeah.
will say, Dustu, it does look like it could be forced open, but there are visible magic runes on it that may
Blow up.
cause damage, depending. Unless you have a way to get rid of that, it probably isn't a
I'm
good
gonna
idea to
cast
force it.
Dispel Magic on the door.
Very
If okay, Ruz or Ben, are you going to attempt to lockpick?
I will give it a shot.
Right.
Okay.
You want
If
to
that
cast Dispel
fails-
Magic before or after?
Before.
Did
Okay.
someone? All right. So before that, someone can cast detect traps, right? We may as well do it, right?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Well, if you can do it at will, why not?
It is not trapped. You get the feeling the runes are more of a precaution to prevent people from forcing it, but not necessarily to harm people opening it.
All right. Let's give a dexterity check.
Okay,
Does
so
anyone
I'm
want?
gonna
access
hold
to-
off then on the.
Let the record show that Ben asked for someone to cast detect traps.
Forever on the record.
It's forever on the record. I mean, the fact that it's at will is like, hey, Hey, I think it's a useless spell, but you can cast it at will, so may as well get mileage.
Yeah. At will spells are the best. So you gonna attempt to unlock it then? As they come
yes.
down and be like, "Oh, Rose, we need you to unlock," and they like Dusty like picks you up and shuffles you upstairs, plops you down in front of it.
Hold on. Let's see if Dustu actually does pick me up just for the sake of comedy. I should have used that for the lockpicking.
You should have, yeah.
Ruz, you fool!
All right,
I've
Dusty
doomed
goes
this
to
call.
pick you up. You deftly dodge out of the way and then follow him upstairs.
Yep.
It leads you to a safe set into the ground with like a board panel that's been opened.
It's also like ninja acrobatics, kind of like dodge, going like
Like,
I
you
can
straight
just
up you dodge him
fall.
grabbing you and then like jump up onto his shell anyways and ride him upstairs.
I serve him. I serve him up. Getting back on track.
Lockpicking check.
Okay.
This would be just
I'll-
dexterity for you.
Yep. Can I get maybe some assistance?
Kind of hard to
can
assist
assist.
with
You-
lockpicking.
Well,
Kettle can
There we go.
provide emotional support.
You have
I'll take
guidance.
I can give you guidance.
Okay.
Right,
Roll the
you can-
d4. Okay, that's enough. That's just enough as you. It's a really tough lock, and you're trying to get it for a couple of minutes, and it's weird because it's actually a combination of a key lock and a combination lock that you have to do at the same time. So you got to do like one with one hand and one with the other, and you got to listen in on it, and you're trying it, and then you hear it, ding, and you pull open this long safe. Inside the safe, you see delicately laid on some red linens is a rapier, a very fine make, and a ring.
Huh.
Russ tilts the head.
Sorry, you said I heard a ring and a rapier. What was the other thing?
That was it.
They're just
Oh,
laid
okay.
on some fine red linens.
Okay.
If you want that, you
Aroma
can have
wants
that.
lemons.
What was that?
Aroma wants the lemons.
Right, they're like made for like rape, like a
Putting
blade
things
to be
on.
sat on. So they're not huge, but they're a full size blanket for you.
I was just gonna take a quick look at the ring and be like, "Hey, Barbus, do your thing."
Oh, gladly.
Are you
I'm
going
gonna-
to do full divine situation, or are you just going to ritual cast?
I think I'm gonna save that for that sword.
Okay.
So I'm just going
A
to.
lot of things you find in here may have history, so you may want to use it multiple times, even after you identify.
Sure. Okay.
Later days.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can only do one at a time,
Yeah.
so
I'm just saying
per day.
a lot of the items you find in here are probably good candidates for that, regardless.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead virtual cast it on these.
All right, which one are you identifying first?
We'll do the ring because that was what was presented to me.
Let me double check. Did I add? I might be able to. I don't know if I added these to the game yet. Not there. If not, I'll read them off. But if I have added them, I'll have you read them. I have not added them yet. I'll have to do that. I'll give you the item cards for them next session then, because I have them in my Google Docs, but I haven't added them to the game yet. So you said you're doing the ring first?
Yes.
Okay. This one would be an obsidian ring. It is two of a pair. They must be attuned together at the same time by two people who are in love romantically. The attunement ends if either one of them removes the rings, dies, or is no longer in love. Each ring has a different effect. The obsidian ring, wondrous item, legendary, requires attunement by someone who is in love with the one wearing the jade ring. When the wearer of the jade ring is forced to make a saving throw within 60 feet of you, you may use your reaction to allow the wearer to use your bonus to that save instead of their own, if yours is higher. You do not know what the jade ring does because you do not have it.
I'm assuming Edgar is wearing it.
He had a ring on his finger, but it did not seem to be jade.
Interesting.
Um,
And then the rapier would be second.
right. The rapier is known as the Surge Piercer. This elegant rapier was a weapon of choice of an archmage known as Eleanor Blacktrake. It has a very unique ability to bend stray magical energies let off when its users cast a spell and use those energies to bolster or shield its user. Weapon rapier, legendary, requires attunement by someone who can cast at least one spell. When you cast a spell while wielding this weapon, you may use your reaction to capture some of the spell's energies and gain one of the following benefits. You may only benefit from one ability at a time, and only one instance of that ability. If you cast a spell while one of these abilities is active, you may end the effect in favor of a new one. The abilities you may choose. Your AC increases by half the spell's level until an attack misses you. You gain temporary hit points equal to twice the spell's level. The next melee attack you use with this weapon gains a bonus to hit equal to the spell's level and does additional radiant damage equal to the spell's level. And you gain a bonus to the next saving throw you make equal to half the spell's level rounded up. There's no limit to the number of times you can use that, but it only activates when you cast a spell, and you can only have one at a time.
Really handy.
Mm.
It is a very good magical item. Wielded at one time by Edgar's mother.
Oh, okay. So the ring would be from his father.
Well,
Interesting.
probably his mother's ring.
This is probably his mother's ring. So in theory, the jade ring would be his father's.
Yes. So I will add those to the game between the session, and I'll add them to whoever ends up with them by the end of the session.
I think the ring is it's useless without the other one.
Largely, yeah.
Yeah. But the rapier, that sounds really good for I think Ruz can Ruz use finesse weapons?
Yes.
Ruz can.
Yeah.
Ruz is a fighter; they can use every weapon.
Yeah, but you have some spells you can cast, right?
I do have some spells that are all low level, but honestly, that's not bad. That is not bad.
You would probably be the one to benefit the most from it.
The only one who might benefit more would be Dust 2, but his dexterity makes him.
I am not a dex build.
Yeah.
That's the catch. Although
Yeah, and
Well, you
Kettle's
don't
not
necessarily need
proficient.
to attack with it, though. Not all of those benefits are strictly attack based.
You do have to be wielding it, though.
Yeah, but you can have it in hand.
Rapiers don't have the versatile feat, right?
no.
They're just
No,
ranged.
you cannot
There's
two-hand a
just-
rapier.
No, yeah, okay.
The other hand will be on the blade, and you will be hurting yourself.
Yes. um,
There is
Yeah.
a way to maybe combine the two. My weapon and the rapier, getting the 2-weapon fighting feat.
Oh,
yeah, I think honestly it might just be better for Russ. I mean, like I understand I'm a spellcaster, but like if I can't use the weapon well, it's
Yeah,
like
that's the thing.
it's the same reason why I'm not like clamoring over this thing. My dex is a flat 0, so
yeah,
I
I think mine's negative.
Kettle could also use it.
Not proficient with it, though.
No,
Oh,
I mean,
You'd have to
that's
train
actually-
proficiency.
my dex isn't terrible. It's 14. I'd have a +2. That's it.
yeah, but you also are not proficient, I'm assuming. Oh no, you're a bard. You would be.
I am.
The only reason against it really is that strength-based weapons on a whole are better damage dealers than rapiers or than dex-based weapons.
Yeah, and your Signalum weapon offers a really good benefit for your.
Yeah.
It plays
build.
more into what he does, because he doesn't worry. A lot of the benefit from this is either constant DPS or taking a little bit added tank, which is a little more what Ruz is trying to build.
Yeah.
Ruz is having some trouble with having the decent AC or the decent saving throws.
Which this would help with. Both.
At the
this would
very
help
least, the
with.
temporary hit points is nothing to scoff at.
Well, the temporary hit points after a spell gaining an AC until you get missed by something is pretty good. It's almost a free shield, honestly.
How much is it? The bonus to the AC?
The
Is it
bonus
half
to
the spell
AC is half the spell's level until an attack misses you.
So the only issue with that is I can only cast first level spells.
Right now, but it's rounded up.
For now,
So you
yeah.
get one.
One
bonus.
one armor class is nothing to sniff at.
Yeah.
It's
and then
nothing to upturn my nose.
Same thing for the bonus to saving throws, where it's half
Mhm.
rounded up. So.
Yep.
And then later on, when you get third or you get second, and do you go up to third, or do you stop at second for your class?
I believe I stop at 4th.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then paladins and half-casters start at fifth. That's right. Yeah, so eventually that'd be 2.
It also helps that a lot of my spells tend to be like reaction or bonus. I have like 1 action spell I can cast, and the rest are bonus action or reaction. So that means that by casting it, I don't waste my turn, and I can make use of the effect as soon as possible if it's like
Yeah.
damage.
It can play very well for a full caster. It can play very well for a half caster, because
Mhm.
full casters get a lot of better magical effect from it. Half casters get to use a lot more of the martial effect of it. So
Mhm.
it's meant to be a versatile weapon.
Yep. I think though that would be the last weapon I can bond with. I mean, we do have to bond. Wait, do we bond with our Signon weapons?
Technically, yes, but it does not take up an attunement slot. It is its own
Okay.
slot.
All right. I still think I'm like getting to the point of like I think I can't attune to much else.
Unless you want to drop attunement on something.
I gotta double check and see what the heck I've got. Oh, geez.
As they are having this conversation, Barbas, you are with Edgar.
Hmm.
Have you come to a decision?
I have. All right, Edgar. I believe I'm going to take you up on your offer.
Very well. I wish I could stick around to guide you through it afterwards, but it can be a
Understand.
difficult transition, but keep your faith in your deity, and I believe you will find your path. You seem like you have a decent head on your shoulders.
And none of us have introduced ourselves to you. So rather than you have to call me Elf for the rest of your life, you may call me Barbas.
Barbas. It's a good name.
Alright, so I take this and go down to the shrine.
Not quite. It's a bit of a process. He
Okay.
stretches out his hand, and you see a spectral mage hand come out from it and grab a goblet further down the table. To accept the blessing of my blood, you must drink of my blood. And then, once you have and accepted the boon, you'll be able to pull this from my chest. And then to complete the transition, you must make contact with your god at the shrine and place your holy symbol upon the shrine. It may take some time. It's not as simple as a minor prayer or even casting a spell from them. It is a process and a contract you come to with them, an understanding. And some gods can be fickle. So don't lose hope if you don't hear from them right away. And he runs his hand along the blade in his chest, drawing blood, and holds it over the goblet and squeezes some blood out of his hand into it. And he hands the goblet to you. This is not an easy journey. It is not an easy life. There is good in it, but your life will be a service. Are you ready for that?
I believe it already is. I'll take the goblet.
I don't envy you. You have quite the task in front of you. I wish I could do it in your stead.
I understand. The world we live in is not the one we brought, but it's certainly the one we can change. And he will drink it. Just gonna.
Before you drink it,
Oh,
he has one
yeah.
last word.
Okay.
The world you are in is the one we brought you. We failed you. We should have given you more, should have given you better than we had, but we made it so much worse. I pray that you will use these abilities and what guidance you get from your god to make the next world better for those who come after. That is all we can hope to do.
Aye.
Best of luck. I will see if there is any guidance I can give you from the other side, and rest assured I will do what I can.
He'll raise the glass then. To a better world.
To a better world.
And he will kick it right back as if it was a big mug.
It's strange. As it hits your lips, it's not blood anymore. A rich, hearty ale for you.
Oh no.
Hearty mead, like dwarven inventors from your home would drink. It's homely and reminds you of a much better place and a happier time than where you are right now. How do you feel?
Good, strangely. I'll put the goblet down. He's kind of he feels a little queasy with the fact he enjoyed that.
You get
But
the idea is part of the. It's not necessarily you enjoyed that. It's more this ritual isn't just drinking blood.
yeah,
It's
no,
the
I
blood
understand.
sponsors yeah.
I understand. He's still a little caught off guard with the fact that he did in fact just enjoy that. So what's now? What happens now?
You take the sword from my chest. You make your way down into the basement of this place. Slay whatever tries to stop you on the way. And you commune with your god. And become a tool. A weapon to be wielded against the unholy. Against the wretched. Against those who seek to upset the natural order of what your god stands for. It's not an easy task, but you've already taken the first step.
Aye.
There's just one more thing you need from me. And he gestures to the blade.
He nods.
As you put your hand on the blade, he grabs the hilt for a second to stop you from pulling it. I want you to know, I bear no ill will towards my son for what happened here. But he is a monster now, and he needs to be stopped. He'll no doubt recognize this in you and know that it was my hand, but I feel no inkling for revenge against my son. I failed him, not the other way around. And I failed you as well in that. I failed the world. You right my wrongs, but you don't do it for me. You do it for yourself and those you love. Never lose sight of that. And he removes his hand.
Thank you. And with that, he will pull it.
You grip the blade, feet up on the table with a stance. It's a mighty sword and hard to lift even without the magic. And you feel, as you pull, your connection as you immediately attune to the blade. And rip it from his chest. Viscera spilling out of him from the two spikes that drive backwards into him. if he wasn't already worn out, that would kill any man. And as he slumps back into his chair and his eyes gloss over. So that's what that feels like. I thought it'd be colder. He looks at you, smile on his face now. I am going to see my father and my mother. And the one that I've served my life. Thank you for this, Barbas. And thank your friends for me as well. And he passes away. You hold the blade in front of you. It's blood-red hue of the sword. Very fine make. And there's a weight to the blade, but it's more than just the physical weight there now. As you, having talked to him, having talked to your friends and know what you're facing, and heard some of the man who wielded this before him, there's a weight and a responsibility to this weapon. And you hope you're going to be able to live up to it now. And that is where we're going to end for tonight.
Oh, damn.
You have made a hell of a decision today.
I have.
And
I can't
one
wait to
party
see
member is dead.
his actions.
Ah, that's true. One party member is dead.
Yep. No. As soon as you said you could make one of us into what he is, I immediately was like, oh, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I really doubted you guys were going to fully pass up on this. I knew it was going to be something you mulled over, but I mean,
It's
look, I put buttons in front of you guys and you push it, no matter what it is.
to me the benefits outweigh the consequences.
Yeah. It's a good. Also, so you know, currently, you are not a vampire, but it is doing necrotic damage. As you are not fully vampire, you're not fully Kristnik, you are in between. You are having no negatives, no boons from it that you immediately feel. There may be stuff that you notice that happen if a combat happens between now and then, but no additions to your stat block yet. That comes when the transition is finished. Either time runs up and you become a vampire, or you succeed in communing and you become a Kristnik.
Was he going to offer that if Aroma hadn't said their spiel?
He might have, if you guys drove him to it. It's not something he was necessarily hiding, or he would have been unwilling to do. But he would not have necessarily thought or have said it had you not said what you said. It was something you guys were going to have to ask for something of him for him to say that, and even though you didn't specifically ask for something of him, your spiel about taking responsibility for what he let happen rung to him, and he thought of, well, this is the most power I can give them. This is the best I can do to fix it. So, yes, what you said was a major factor in him offering that.
Yay. Whoa.
That next session's gonna be fun.
Oh
I
god.
have been waiting
There
for
are
you guys.
totally vampires in the basement.
There's gonna be so many fucking vampires.
And we have to kill all of them or else they're gonna get loose on the vineyard.
And then there might be Draugr.
Vampires in the vineyard. Oh my god, that's such a good episode name.
That would
That
be.
sounds like some like
Sounds like a
diner
band
or
name.
I'm gonna
erotica
end this
that
episode
someone's
real quick.
great aunt wrote in her late 50s.
Say bye to YouTube, everybody.
Goodbye,
Bye,
YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.